Okay, is everybody set? Okay. Camera good? All right, okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Patrick Cannon. I'm Advocacy Director for FLCHAIN, the Community Health Action Information Network. We're a statewide consumer health group that advocates for affordable, quality health care for everybody in Florida. The media kits you've been given include the media release and participant bios and all the relevant fact sheets. So, and if you have any questions on that stuff, we'll take questions later. So, imagine if this was you. You're driving and the phone rings. It's a coworker who tells you that your wife fell and hit her head and an ambulance has arrived to rush her to the hospital. You also learn that your 13-year-old boy was the one who found her in the kitchen, lying in a pool of her own blood, and the blood is coming from her head. And then you learned that your wife suffered a near-fatal head wound. How would you feel? What would go through your mind? Imagine the panic and fear and heartbreak of dealing with such a calamity. Thankfully, she begins to recover. But as she gets better, the reality that your wife will need long-term care sinks in. How will you take care of her? Even if you have health insurance, your plan doesn't cover long-term care, doesn't pay enough, or pays nothing for some services. And nursing homes can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 or more a year. A lot don't take Medicaid, and they're run for profit. This was the situation facing the Cornelius family, Carol, her husband Mike, who will speak today, and their son Miles. But they were able to access the kind of service that has allowed Carol to live at home while she's recovering. Carol is in a program called Nursing Home Transition Program. We are here today at Self-Reliance because Self-Reliance offers this program. Strangely, this is the kind of service Tallahassee has said no to. They've said no to caring for seniors and persons with disabilities, but they're also saying no to money for preventing child abuse and poor birth outcomes. They're saying no to these things because Tallahassee is saying yes to the bad old days when insurance companies could deny coverage based on pre-existing conditions, like kids who couldn't get health insurance because their asthma is labeled a pre-existing condition. They want to go back to the days when just being a woman was considered a pre-existing condition. They also want to go back to the days when Congress had its own special health insurance deal that was better than everyone else's. Florida is leading the way through the courts in the mistaken hope that the entire Affordable Care Act will be overturned. Under the ruse of a constitutional challenge, Florida has passed up somewhere around $50 million or much more, depending on the estimate, that had been available through the Affordable Care Act. This money would help a lot of people, and Florida does not have money to burn. According to Tallahassee, Florida doesn't have enough money to care properly for seniors, persons with disabilities, children, and the poor, but is giving millions of dollars back to the federal government that would help these very people. Why pass up $50 million when we're in such desperate financial straits? Thousands of Floridians won't be getting help because the state has given back money from 2 grants from the Affordable Care Act, the health law that went into effect a year ago last March. Thousands of persons and seniors will have to stay in nursing homes instead of their own homes after a disabling accident or illness. Thousands of families, many at risk, won't get access to health and early education resources. So today we focus on these 2 sources of money Florida rejected because they come from the Affordable Care Act. One is money follows the person. People with disabilities often live in nursing homes or other group care facilities when they want and can live more independently in their communities. Florida turned down money from the Affordable Care Act that would help people like Mike Cornelius. Mike's wife Carol suffered a near-fatal head injury. She recovered tremendously thanks in part to a program that allowed her to stay in their home and with her husband and son while recovering. Without the program, Carol would have gone into a nursing home and the family would have gone bankrupt. Now, more Florida families will suffer needlessly because they won't have access to the kinds of services Mike did. The other source of money is the Maternal, Infant, and Early Childhood Home Visiting Program. Florida's children rank at the bottom in almost every indicator of well-being. Despite severe cuts to Florida's major state-funded home visiting programs, the Florida legislature and governor have rejected or left on the table tens of millions of dollars in home visiting grants. By connecting families to the services they need, home visits make a real difference in a child's health, development, and ability to learn. They provide access to health care, developmental services for children, early education, parenting skills, child abuse prevention, and nutrition education or assistance. Now children and families won't get the help they need, so Florida would be able to climb from the bottom of the nation in how it treats its children. We have 4 speakers today: Brenda Reel, Mike Cornelius, Linda Merrill, and Jennifer Trujillo. After they speak, I'll make some closing comments and then we'll take questions. Brenda Reel is the Executive Director of Self-Reliance. She collaborates with community agencies and businesses to ensure understanding and compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act relative to accessing goods and services. She is involved with the development and administration of projects and programs that empower people with disabilities, and she plays a critical role in fundraising, grant writing, grant management, and overall development of the agency. Please welcome Brenda Reel.